Frack on. Welcome to the episode of Frack the Canon. This time we are joined by the CJ McCree,
Yo.
Sara Kinney,
Hey.
Kenny Jasper,
How we doing?
and last but not least, Mr. Tyler Reese. How you doing, good sir?
Doing all right. Happy to be here.
Good. Yes. I'm glad you're all here. So we'll start with we're going to talk about, as you can see by the thumbnail, Black Widow. Let's talk about the movie proper. So again, it's Marvel. I don't know why I doubted Marvel, but I liked it a lot. I thought they had a lot of heart. If I were to give it a letter grade, I would give it an A minus. All right, Kenny, I see your smile. What's up? What would your grade?
A solid C plus. I thought I always struggle with movies when you know the ending before it happens.
Okay.
I think this movie did a good job, still being fun and watchable. But I also thought that they missed the beat on a few characters and the overall story to tell.
Hold on to that thought because I want to talk about that because I might think about. Tyler, what would you give it?
The more I think about it, the lower score I want to give it. So I'm gonna say C.
All right. In the pre-show it was a C plus, but now it's a C. All right. Sarah, what are you gonna give it?
I agree with you. A minus. Same reason for Kenny. Like when I went into it, since we know how it ends, I don't typically like prequels because I'm like, well, this isn't really that exciting. But it surprised me. I ended up liking it more than I thought I would.
Yep. All right, CJ, what is up? What would you give it?
In general, I give this like a B minus. I actually I enjoyed this movie a lot. I didn't love it. But I did like it a lot. There are a lot of things that I did like about it. It's kind of like it's kind of like a B action movie, like the type of action movie that like stars, I don't know, Gerard Butler and comes out in January. You know what I mean? Like freaking, but like, I don't hate those movies. Like I go, I wait till February to see them, but I go and I see those movies, and I enjoy my popcorn while, missiles are blowing up for no real reason. You know what I mean? But no, I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Side note to that, Gamer is massively underrated movie.
Agreed.
I don't know how to go back from that. All right, so Kenny, what were the beefs you had with the character plot that you said?
So Taskmaster. I'm just
all right. Let's talk about
throw
that.
it out there.
Talk about that.
Taskmaster's awesome as a character in the comics. Awesome as like a concept. Supposed to be the ultimate warrior. Kind of can learn any style from Daredevil to Spider-Man to Black Widow. We open up with like one of the coolest scenes in the entire movie. That fight scene where they're on the bridge. It's like really intense and really fun. And then the rest of the movie, the character's almost non-existent, or like there's no real feeling there. Like I don't feel threatened by Taskmaster at all. And then the big reveal, we'll get there when we get in the podcast, like when we talk about it. I don't want to spoil it right now, but the big reveal, I don't really care. Like it's very predictable. This isn't like if you had made the character mean more throughout the movie, this would be a cool moment. But they kind of just were like, yeah, here it is, I guess. And she's gonna matter in the Hawkeye show, I guess. Like,
but it did mean something to Black Widow, to Natasha. It didn't mean anything to her, something to Black Widow. So that's why I was like, okay, I'll give it to you. All right, Tyler, I see you with your thinking hand. What's going on?
Yeah. So I'm with Kenny. The weakest part of the movie was Taskmaster, and the best way I've heard it explained is by the YouTube series Pitch Meeting, which
which you all gotta watch.
Yes. This is great. Yeah, the episode on Black Widow is fantastic. I'll just spoil this one line where he says, "Oh, like Deadpool. Oh, so they're gonna talk a lot like Taskmaster in the comic." No, Deadpool from Wolverine Origins Deadpool, not saying a word through the whole movie. And they might have a lot of things to say, but they won't say a word in the whole movie. And that's the beat I think we're missing that Kenny's talking about, is if she has been tortured to have to fight with this microchip in her head or whatever, why doesn't she say anything when she finally gets it yanked out?
Exactly.
Dead
Like
staring the whole time.
there's so much unlifted weight there that could like mean something.
CJ, I see that coy smile of yours. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just enjoying the show so far. No, my thoughts on Taskmaster are when we got to the reveal, I was kind of like, oh man, people who like Taskmaster are gonna kind of hate this. But me personally, I didn't. I'm not the biggest Taskmaster fan, but I do think Taskmaster's cool. But I didn't hate it for the sole purpose that Taskmaster wasn't a character in the movie. If Taskmaster had been a character, then I would have been disappointed. But Taskmaster wasn't a character as it stands. It served its purpose in the movie for what it was. You know what I mean? Like Taskmaster was a weapon, and that's just kind of what it was. You know what I mean? So I wasn't disappointed when I didn't get the awesome Taskmaster of the comics, because the Taskmaster of the movie like kind of served the purpose of the Taskmaster of the movie. But it does still kind of like illuminate a bit of a flaw, and I'm not really sure how to put it into words, but this movie kind of felt like Black Widow was the afterthought almost. Like the story, the story is here, now let's like tweak the story points until they become more Black Widow. If that makes any kind of sense. I don't know if anybody else.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I felt
that
too.
like,
I felt that too.
It felt like a generic writing story, and then they're like, let's replace generic character with Black Widow.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that completely. I know where you're coming from, but I felt like it was something else. We'll talk about that later. Let's get Sarah's thought on Taskmaster.
I didn't really care about the Taskmaster thing at all. For me, this was like a family drama movie. And that's what really sucked me into it is Natasha and her family, and their interactions, and everything else was kind of like side plot to me. Like even at the end when they had the big battle, I was like, okay, well they have to do this to make an action film, but like, yeah. So I didn't really, for me, Taskmaster wasn't even a thing in this movie.
So I didn't care about Taskmaster. I never thought that character was cool. I remember the first time I read him, it was in a Wolverine issue, and I'm like, dude, this guy is corny as hell. And Wolverine like takes him down like that, like not even like just like bitch slaps him, and he goes down. I'm like, all right, this is Taskmaster. But this isn't Taskmaster, and this isn't the first time Marvel's done this too, where they switch a character, the Mandarin. So it's not out of Marvel's like playbook to be like, let's just switch it up. Because like there's no reason for it to be the regular guy, Todd, whatever his name is. Sorry, I don't know his name or not, but it doesn't mean anything to us, but it means something to Natasha. She thought she killed this person, but she survived, and so it's kind of like that means something to her. But at the end of the day, too, I'm like, what again? And like CJ was saying, it was an afterthought. Who said it was an afterthought? CJ or Kenny? Kenny said it was an afterthought.
CJ
said it was an afterthought. I'm like, it did feel that way because it felt like they were setting up Yelena. They were setting up Florence Pugh to be the next Black Widow. Oh yeah, we gotta have actually OG Black Widow in. And that's what I liked about this movie though, was the family aspect of it. To me it had a lot of heart. That movie had a lot of heart. That one scene where they're arguing with each other. The moment that got to me is when
who cares? That wasn't real.
What?
That wasn't real. Who cares?
Don't say that. Please don't say that. It was real. It was real to me. You are my mother. You were my real mother. The closest thing I ever had to one. The best part of my life was fake.
I was tearing up. That got to me. I'm like, holy shit, that got to me. And when Red Guardian starts singing American Pie, again, dude, I'm like, oh my god, like that's why I give it an A minus, because I'm like, it's not about Natasha, it's about Black Widow, but it's about the Black Widows. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and actually that's probably why I knock it even more is because I got that too. It's like not just about her, it's about the organization. Two things. This organization has existed this entire time. The Avengers have existed and they've allowed them to continue. Like Nick Fury is like the best spy in the world and he doesn't know this is going on.
He has one eye. Come on.
Can't keep his eye on everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then
You can't look up.
Well, he was dead for a while, right? He got poofed.
That's true.
But this actually happened before then, though.
Before
anyways.
For the poof. But then also the second thing is I thought this was like the worst villain in MCU history. The guy with the ring, I don't even know his name, and his stupid perfume he wears that prevents him from being assassinated. But hey, anyone can shoot with a sniper rifle. Like, why does that stop?
Yeah.
He just spent his whole life up in this satellite, so no one would get him. Our pheromones pumping everywhere in this satellite. No one else thought to sever your nasal cavity to get him until this point. Why didn't Natasha's mom kill him before this? There's like, and I didn't care. I just didn't care about the conflict or any of this whole movie, all because of the weak villain thing.
There was no conflict. I mean, the conflict was the vials were MacGuffins.
There was no conflict.
I mean,
yeah, you're right. There wasn't. It was about the family.
Not really. Yeah.
Together. The MacGuffin was the vials. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
I'm actually opposite of Tyler in the sense that I gave it a C+ because the family plotline was so good, and the rest of the movie was like not as enjoyable or as entertaining as like the family stuff. Like all the Red Guardian, Elena stole the movie for me. Like absolutely. She bought the jacket with the vest and like talks about the pockets. I'm like, yes. Like I love all of that. Like that was all great and very entertaining stuff. Like it was the rest, like the villains just fell flat. Like the rescuing Red Garden was like a really cool scene, but I'm like, okay, well they just killed like 200 plus Russian prisoners, I guess, like to save one. Like
are you quoting Pitch Meeting?
No, that's like a real, like I in the theater, I turned to my wife and I went, they just murdered a bunch of people to save one guy. Like if this was an American prison, like people would be outraged.
I mean,
I don't think people die in prison all the time and people won't get outraged. So.
Yeah. But Russian plotter plot or God, what is it? Cannon fodder. There we go. Russian cannon fodder. You can kill Russian people. It's fine.
Some of the Russia prison kills you.
No, yeah, I feel kind of like how Kenny feels. In that, like, I agree with. I don't disagree with Kenny and Tyler's like points on like all the negatives. It's just that I enjoy. It's kind of like how Kenny said. I enjoyed the good stuff in this movie enough that it bumped the other parts up, you know what I mean, for me. It just made me feel better. And to your point about the plot hole, Tyler, obviously this is part of the sacred timeline, so that kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? It was just supposed to go that way.
It's pretty fair.
You know what I mean? But
I'm sorry. That's awesome. It had to happen. The one that remains they had to do it. You're right. It had to. Sarah.
Well, this movie gave me a little bit more. I know because it's a prequel, and again, I hate prequels, but it gave me a little more peace about her dying in Endgame a bit, because it kind of like when she died in Endgame, I was sitting there thinking like, that's not real. Like that's fake, you know, like I feel like I didn't get closure from that moment.
Well, to be real, this is all fake.
Well, yeah, but like I was like, when they do the snap, she's gonna come back somehow, they're gonna grandfather her in. Like same with Loki, I was all upset. Like I was like, wait, no, like that can't be true. But this movie was kind of a way to, I think, let us say goodbye a bit and have her family like be like get peace with her family before she goes. And I actually found that really beautiful, and I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting her just to go out and like murder people in this movie, and so I really enjoyed how they took it.
I mean, like going back to what Kenny was saying, Yelena to me stole the movie. The Yelena had 3 moments. She had a.
Why do you guys do that thing?
Do what?
That thing you do when you're fighting. And this thing that you do when you whip your hair when you're fighting with the arm and the hair, and you do like a fighting pose. It's a fighting pose. You're a total poser.
I'm not a poser.
That's a cool way to die. There was another one too. I forgot. When she
I want to come back to that because I have one minor gripe with that.
Okay, and then what was the other one? Oh, when Red Guard asked him, "Are you?"
Why the aggression, huh? Is it your time of the month?
I don't get my period, dipshit. I don't have a uterus. Or ovaries. Yeah, that's what happens when the Red Room gives you an involuntary hysterectomy. They kind of just go in and they rip out all of your reproductive organs. They just get right in there and they chop them all.
I'm like, I love her. I love her. This is my new favorite character in this movie. In this franchise. Go ahead, Kenny. What do you want to talk about?
So I agree with you. Those are all like great things, and again, reasons why she stole the movie. The first time she says this would be a great way to die, I'm like, oh my god, yes, give me all of that. My gripe comes when she has her moment where she stabs the helicopter propellers. She doesn't say this would be a cool way to die. She instead like turns to Black Widow. I forget what the line's like super forgettable, but basically it's like a kind of a I love you or like forgive me or like we're sisters even though we're not sisters moment. I'm like, no. Down? Yeah. I was like, no, like give me like this is a cool way to die. And then she stabs the thing and like falls like thousands of feet. And then you get that really cool or cinematic like Black Widow jumping off to save her moment.
What else do you guys love about Yelena? Because I mean, obviously she's gonna be in Hawkeye. CJ, let's say something.
I like Yelena a lot. I think this served as a I guess a decent sort of layup for whatever they're gonna do with this character. And someone said it before. It wasn't just about Black Widow, Natasha. It was kind of like almost about the legacy of Black Widow, kind of like all this sort of Phase 4 stuff has kind of been about like each thing has been about the legacy of some sort of big Avengers character in some way. But so it'll be interesting to see where she goes. But as far as like the character, like she's kind of been my favorite new character in a long time. Like that the MCU has introduced as like a new character. Like she like is full of charisma. You know what I mean? Like she ate all the scene, and yeah, she's a joy to watch.
She is delightful. Okay, anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to get off your chest about Black Widow?
Well,
go ahead, Sarah.
Oh, I was just gonna ask if you guys are ready for the Stranger Things Black Widow crossover, because in Stranger Things, I forget his name in Stranger Things, but he's captured by Russians. And then in Black Widow, he's like a Russian agent. So like, I'm totally ready for that. Like,
no, because it's set in the 80s and this is set in 2016.
But he could have been like.
That's when he gets the super soldier serum though, guys.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
Okay.
It could kind of work. I'm just saying.
It could happen.
It could be a what if.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. Who's excited for what if?
One thing I want to bring up is, so this movie tells Black Widow's story and gives Black Widow's like predecessor, right? Mm-hmm. So where do we sit with all of them, the core Avengers, right? Captain America's dead. Tony Stark's dead. Thor's still alive. Does Thor die in Love and Thunder?
Well, Thor's going to become a woman. It's going to be Natalie Portman.
Well, Jane Foster's going to take over, but I mean, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, like, does it end there?
He's in Guardians 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's happening that either.
the Hawkeye show's coming out, and the way that this movie ends, it sets up. It seems like Elena's going to start hunting after Hawkeye. We already know that Kate Bishop is going to take over for Hawkeye. So what is Bruce Banner? I guess is the last Avenger. We don't know.
Yeah, and he's
showing up in She-Hulk.
Okay, so of the core, am I missing anybody?
Well, Hawkeye. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. You can go ahead.
No. Someone was it Tyler or CJ who was going to say something? Well, Hawkeye.
I was just.
Go, Tyler. Go.
Oh no! I was just saying that. Yeah, I think you guys were on to something. It's everything's wrapping up for the original cast. I think that's a thing of contracts. Hawkeye is was said being hunted. Hulk is literally giving his powers to his cousin. Spoiler alert if you don't know the origins of She-Hulk. So yeah, I think we'll be seeing the end of the original cast at some point.
I mean, it seems like this to me. They're setting up for sure Young Avengers and maybe Thunderbolts.
Yeah, definitely Thunderbolts.
Yeah, Thunderbolts.
Baron Zemo. Yeah.
Seems like they're heading in that direction, even if it's just a TV show. Like it's gonna happen.
Oh, this is something I wanted to say about the movie. I forgot to mention.
Good.
What's the name of the senator with heart trouble chasing Black Widow in the beginning?
William Hurt, General Ross.
Yes.
General Ross. Yes. So, is he gonna be in She-Hulk, and is this gonna help set up for Thunderbolts? That's my next question.
I hope so.
Rumor is Red Hulk. We're gonna see a role.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't want to spoil it for people, but okay.
Well, first of all, this is a spoiler show.
Yeah.
I mean,
She-Hulk needs a villain, right?
Red She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Bring in Liv Tyler back.
To be honest, I don't think they're going like the MCU differs enough from comics that I feel like they'd probably use Ross as like a bait and switch for Red Hulk.
I think we're gonna get Abomination.
Renee, I was gonna mention Abomination because Shang-Chi, you see Abomination, so I know, but I know the rights are all muddied with like Hulk and Universal and all that stuff.
But I think it's different for movies though. I mean for TV, only for movies. Like for movies, it's all you have to share a la Sony. Steve, you were gonna say something? Sorry.
Well, I was gonna, now Abomination is supposed to be in She-Hulk as well.
Yeah, Tim Roth is in it. Yeah, Tim Roth is confirmed in She-Hulk.
What about Doc Samson? Because we got left on a cliffhanger in that movie.
Dude, CJ, you said it too. They set up the leader. They had the leader. That was what, 2008
years ago.
That was
17 years ago.
14 years ago, almost 15.
Yeah.
Oh, such a tease. Any final comments? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, you know what? My final thoughts on this movie is the only reason I don't rank it lower than like a C is Elena. Elena is the glue, and I think she carries this whole movie. And without her, this movie doesn't work. And that is all for me.
Anyone else?
I find that this movie reminds me a lot of. I felt the same way about this movie as I felt about Solo, a Star Wars story. I don't think either movie argues very much for their own existence, but whereas that's like doubly true for Solo because of what it is specifically, Marvel Universe sets precedence for what Black Widow is. So like I expect like 30 more movies like this, you know what I mean? Like Solo, like Star Wars, like, you know what I mean? You just kind of dance around like one story that you've kind of been stretching out for the last like 20 years, you know what I mean? But that's still just kind of like one story. But like Marvel is like a collection of story, is a collection of franchises, of many franchises, which they do the opposite and string into like one story, you know what I mean? Like, but it's like, but they are little separate stories, you know what I mean? So like something like Black Widow is expected, unlike something like Solo because there's only like a Solo here and there.
I don't like that movie at all. Sarah.
I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm sure everyone watching the show has already seen it. So tell your friends to go watch it. And I also want to say I hope they keep releasing these on Disney Plus. It's a little selfish of me to like be lazy and not want to leave the house and sit in a theater while masked, but I just, it was like the perfect viewing experience, and I was pleasantly surprised.
I think everyone should go watch it. I think it was awesome. I was surprised how good it was. Yeah, it was like top 10 for sure of the Marvel movies. Not top 5, but top 10 for sure.
Bottom 5.
Yeah, bottom 5 for me.
Alrighty. We'll see us. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you same fracking time, same fracking channel. Frack off.